morning, and welcome to this special edition of Truth to Power. And I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we're going to be joined by two young men in the studio with me. Both need very little introduction. I'll start with a person who's been a perennial guest on the show, co-host of the show, and that's Mr. Norman Clement. And the other person is a perennial guest and co-host on the show, and that is Mr. Keith Bennett. So, Keith, Norman, welcome to Truth to Power this morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of our viewers and to our listening audience. We pray that you had a successful New Year's Day celebration, and we pray that this is going to be a very, very great and prosperous and productive year for you, your family, and your friends. So whatever you endeavor to do this year, we pray that that's something that meets with all kinds of success. And we pray that your health, as you come into this new year, is going to, if it's not on the greatest side of the fence, we pray that you are going to get healthy. And we pray that you will maintain your health, and we pray that you will continue to have faith, that you will be covered by his hands, and that you will continue to show, and he will show you grace, and he will show you safekeeping throughout this new year and years to come. This has been a real interesting time, because of the fact that over the holiday weekend, we didn't have much snow. It just didn't seem like it was, New Year, because the weather even got up into the 40s. But, we're hoping that everybody did get an opportunity to go and break bread on New Year's Day with their family and friends. And we are definitely extending our prayers and our condolences to all of those individuals in New Orleans that recently lost their lives due to a tragic accident with people that were right there on Bourbon Street and were bringing in the new year. And they had a person that, went through the barricades, and I believe, from my understanding, there were 15 casualties as a result, and several people injured. And then also want to extend our condolences to all those families that lost loved ones during that time, as well as to extend our prayers and get well wishes to all those that were involved in the tragic mishap in New York City recently, over the holiday weekend as well too. So, it's not the way we want to bring the new year in, but we pray for those families, and we pray that, those individuals that were involved, that were injured, we pray that they maintain and get totally healthy as a result of what happened. This has been a real interesting beginning of this year for me. I know we buried a good friend of mine last Saturday. She was the President Pro Tem of the City Council for Romulus, and that was the Honorable Councilwoman Virginia Williams. And it was just, they had last Friday, after we had did the show last Friday, I know she was laying in state at the City Hall in Romulus. And a lot of people went there to, pay their respects to the family and friends. And I know this past Saturday at Triumph Church, they just had the funeral services for her, and just the outpouring of support, the people that came out to support her family, to Johnny and all of her children. And I mean, just a beautiful outpouring of support, and the tributes, the testimonies that people gave from a lot of county executives, city officials, and other elected officials, as well as a lot of just people that knew her and knew the type of work that she did in the community. She was a trooper, she was a soldier, and she made her transition doing something that she loved, and that was putting together some food baskets for people through one of the food outlets. And so we definitely extend our condolences and our prayers to Johnny, her beloved husband, as well as other members of her family, and friends. So we hope and pray that those of you that may have lost individuals during this time, loved ones, family, friends, that our heartfelt condolences go out to you and to your family. But we are also going to be joined by an esteemed colleague, and his name is Mr. Leland Stein. And when I mention Leland's name, when I mention Norman's name, when I mention Keith's name, the first subject that comes about is sports. Only other persons that I could have mentioned their names and we could have talked sports would have been probably Ishmael Terry,
Really?
Ken
Ishmael?
Scott, because we've got political pundits all over, that talk sports. They feel they know sports, and they live sports. And one thing I just wanted to say too, since I mentioned Ishmael's name, Ishmael also has a program that he's the CEO and founder of called All for One, and I know that they are going to have a outing this coming Monday through his All for One at the for the Pistons. And I know Keith and I were talking, before the show today, and I know Keith had mentioned to me about Jalen Ivey had broke his leg in a recent game. So we also definitely want to hope that he gets on the mend very, very quickly. And we know that from what Keith was telling me, I think that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Is that correct, Keith?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So our prayers go out to him for a full and complete, recovery. But Leland,
Yeah.
we definitely hope that you had a happy
holidays.
New Year, happy holidays to you and to your family. So we definitely bring you good cheer. We know that you brought in the New Year with all of your family, and
Woo.
from what Keith was telling me, you
100%.
got quite a few family members that you were celebrating the start of the New Year with.
Yeah, they all be leaving in a day or so, though. So start working out.
So what parts are they flying or driving back to?
Louisville, Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And my sister was up in Lansing. So, it was just a real tight group. Not the whole conglomerate of family, just my immediate close.
So did you, let me just ask, I'll ask each of you, did you make any resolutions for the coming year?
Oh, yes.
Well, give me
Always.
the I guess it sounds like you may have made multiple resolutions, but
No.
give me the top one or two that you gave.
Well, my top message is that I just want to stay in line with the season I'm in. And I want to embrace it and live it fully. The season I'm in, that we all have to adjust and go through. I was thinking like when I was young, the most important things in my life were my sisters, my three sisters. Then it was going to college, and the next thing, we go through season to season. And the next most important thing was marriage, then home, then kids. So that season comes in, hope to maximize your potential to galvanize the whole family. And then now the season of retirement, and in that phase, you're blessed. You get thrown some little souls, 7 of them I got, maybe 10 to 6, that are out of nowhere, boys. Unbelievable. But you sit here, you get older, you can't get away. They just come, jump in your lap, you just love you. Unconditional love, man. So, yeah, I didn't ask to be a grandparent. I didn't even think about it. It's just these seasons put you in. So that was my resolution, accept the season I'm in, and praying that God give us grace and mercy and health and continued wisdom. And that's what I really believe. That's what I prayed for, especially with these kids. I'm more nervous now seeing these boys looking at me, well, please don't let nothing happen to them. And so, it's just interesting.
Well,
So thanks, man. Yeah, we had it's a blessing.
Yes, it is. It is. Keith, what was was there a top New Year's resolution that you made?
Very parallel with Leland's. That season that I'm in, I've retired 3 times in the last 3 years.
Because you up bad, people want you.
Yeah, and so that was the thing
That's an offer.
Yeah, that was the thing that I'm to understand my blessing, to understand where I'm at, to not have any regrets, but to still dream and dream God-sized dreams.
Yes.
And to be blessed that the phone still rings, text messages still come in, requests still come in, and so I'm not empty. And so I promised God probably about 20 years ago that I would die empty. I would come to Him empty. And so He's letting me live that dream. So that's a God-sized dream.
Okay. Norman.
Pretty much the same thing. A little bit, be more creative, a little bit more selective, but also passionate about what we're doing, and understanding that this year is going to be a year that is not about me. A lot of less egos, but also, run your mission with a passion, and not as ruthless, but truthfully ruthless, as understand that the vision that we're facing right now.
Yeah.
We have a big major decisions that need to be made, and we definitely need to make those decisions. But also, there's a place for everybody in those decisions that need to be made. Not saying you're out of the loop, but really, we need everyone working together as a steady will, especially at this time right now.
Yeah.
Well, I could use that as a segue to get into sports.
Mm-hmm.
Since all of the people that play in the sports arenas and the teams, they have to work together.
Yeah.
But, I think the thing is that, Norman, I agree with you totally. There are no I's in the word ego. So that's the thing that people have to really realize, too, that it's a lot that we want to do. And I've talked to so many people that said that this is going to be a year that they're going to do more self-maintenance, in terms of saying and look, things that they need to do to maintain their own self, self-help, self-healing.
Yeah.
So that they can take better care of themselves because they look out for other people more than anything else. Go ahead, Lee.
No, I'll feel you on that. I just got to say that. One other little thing I thought myself, too, was I don't know how we get back to truth being the guide for this earth.
Wow.
But that's a hope, because we so much information, especially being a newspaper guy for years. I've seen it change tremendously. Whenever I did something really bad, I tried to do something a little bit controversial, my editor would say, "You have to have your tape or written down with a date on it. You got to see it. You can't put that out there,
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just a free fall.
Yeah.
And because the internet is allowed anybody to speak, which is good. Now, don't get me wrong, but with the good comes the bad.
Right.
And there's a lot of bad.
Leland, I've been saying for, especially the last 3 or 4 years, but for a while, that our kids there's a spiritual warfare for their minds. And it's a fight like I've never seen in my lifetime. And so you're correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing what you said was truth. Like we started to show truth to power. So many editors and newspapers, and not just local, major platforms want to get the information out first.
Too fast.
Instead of going back and sit to deal with truth. And what happens is a lot of times they put that misinformation out there, or I call it disinformation. And when the facts come, they never come back with the facts, or the facts are on the back page somewhere where you have to go find it.
Yeah.
And this is happening too much.
Well, Norman, nobody wants to be wrong anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody will accept being wrong anymore.
And that's the thing. Nobody is. If you're wrong, say you're wrong.
Yes.
If I got it wrong, say you got it wrong. But the problem is that folks sit there. If I'm wrong about this, then they're so looking at the bots or people on the internet saying, "Oh, you're wrong about this." So they're too busy looking at the comments instead of putting the truth out there and taking their time and saying, "Hey, what's this about? Let's look at this. What's going on? Let's get the facts. Put the truth out there." And they don't do that anymore. So That's
to put the truth out there takes the effort.
yeah.
There's a little research.
Mhm.
You got to check things.
Yeah.
And nobody does that.
No, nobody does.
The internet. And once it gets on the internet, whether it's right or wrong,
it's gone.
and unfortunately people don't, they just get information and they don't care. And they don't check and see. As long as it's something in their wheelhouse and they want to hear it, they're going to accept it as truth.
Yeah.
And thus you get a President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. What's on the internet is this: these are people on the internet who are create algorithms to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I could put something out there on the sensationalism on the page. Jay-Z did this. You look at the internet, you look at it. What was he talking about? It's nothing to do with anything. It's just you to clickbait my page. And so a lot of this information, and unfortunately, what happens is this. We have come to society that we think everything is reality TV and clickbait. And so when we get our information, we thinking our government supposed to be clickbait. We think our local officials supposed to be clickbait. We think everything's supposed to be run like reality TV. This drama here, this drama here. Oh, what did he say about this? What did he say about that? And you skip over the fact that the billionaires are already lined up right now. And you look at it too. Also, too, and here's a problem with the administration coming in. You went from one master to two masters now.
Yes.
You went from Putin to now you got to serve Putin and Elon Musk.
Yes.
Whose interests conflicts with each other majorly. You can't shut down you can't go after Panama because Panama has cut out Russia.
Right.
You want to go after Greenland because Greenland is a NATO site that watches Russia.
Right.
And then you want to go over Canada because Canada has sanctions against Russia.
Right.
But at the same time, you have Elon Musk who is he put his money in fair and square. Has stuff on the agenda where he needs those immigrants to come in.
He bought an election.
Yeah. Let's see. He paid good money.
Yeah.
He paid great top dollar.
Yes.
To get his stuff in. Matter of fact, he's paid so much good money that he got his own department.
Yes.
And so that man, it's not about this. So now you got to serve this master, and you got to serve that master. And like I said, folks get their popcorn ready. Watch and see. But also be strategic about how you move, be kind about how you move, but also be ruthless and let folks know what's going on. And then, you gotta let the folks know.
And when you got young people, and I hear what you're saying, Leland, I'm feeling, when you got young boys and young people, whether young ladies, up under you looking for the truth to come out of your mouth, and you be the filter,
right.
you're fighting so much now. To get the truth to them, you're fighting so much because they have so much at their own disposal. They can come back at you.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's right now. Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna make me up here at church in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I'm getting revved up now. I'm gonna start throwing some hands.
Well, the last time you were on the show, Leland, you got us all revved up here in the studio last time, so it shouldn't be no different this time around. But Leland, just talk about your pedigree. I mean, you last time you were on the show, I had a lot of people ask me, Leland Stein, I know him. Talk about Leland Stein.
And do it the right way, Leland. You so humble and honest.
Well, look, my father, it was a blessing. He was fortunate. He coached the Cubs. He was the founding father of St. Cecilia. He left the West Side Cubs about 68, was it? I think so, because I was with the Cubs 4 years. Yeah, about 68. Him, Brian Thompson, Sam Wash, and Jocko Lee. The Cubs, Detroit was changing drastically. As far as demographics was concerned. And the Cubs was the only black team in the Detroit Junior Football League. So they were cutting 200-300 people. There was only 3 teams. They would keep 100 kids, but there's another 200 on every team trying to come out. Because, that was the only place black youth could participate in youth activity. So they left. And they had got a promise from St. Cecilia, following over that they could get in the Detroit Junior Football League. But once they took half the Cubs, half the cheerleaders, and started their own thing. We got 200 guys over there, living on and nowhere to go. Because they didn't let us in. They reneged. That's something you really think of this racism and we're forgetting all this. We know people from 10 to 17, and we can't play a simple football game with our white brothers. Be on their team. I mean, it's just retarded. But anyway, it was real, and it's true, and it happened. So they started St. Cecilia to get another 300-400 kids involved, and they did that, but Detroit Dreams football wouldn't let us in. But fortunately, the CYO let us in, and we were at least able to play. But we couldn't play in the Detroit Dreams football league. So these were my beginnings. And so, you know, from there, you know, of course I was playing football, but I ain't never grow. I stayed stateside. So yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. But as far as sports, it was always in my blood, you know, because of him and playing at McKenzie, free sports, running track, and playing football and basketball, just elevated that. But once I got to college, I played on the freshman team at State, but I tore my hamstring. I said, it's over, but I'm done. I'm 175 pounds. This is it. And I just put my effort into school, which I tell all my students that I constantly pound on this athlete. You know, you got to be dual focused. And so academics, put the same energy in your academics that you put into your athletics. And I tried to do that. Now, fortunately, I graduated from State, and I had to make money. Because you know, that's the next thing. We got to live. And I met a man. We all need advocates, like me and Keith was talking before. And I kept finding some. And in this case, in L.A., it was a man who was a Jackie Robinson journalist. His name was Brad Pye. And I met him at Magic Johnson's basketball camp. I was coaching there. And I saw him. I knew Brad, but I said, man, I want to be a writer, just like you. I mean, look, it was this simple. He said, son, if you're serious, come on down to the Los Angeles Sentinel, and let's sit down and talk and see where you at. And so I did that. And then he's like, well, if you're really serious about it, you should go back to school, take some English classes, whatever you want to do if you really want to be proficient. And we'll talk. So I went to school, I took some classes and got a teaching credential, and I went back to Brad. And the first article, he said, I want you to write an article about the Black Coaches Association. And that was my whole focus throughout 30 years, my whole 40 years of being a journalist, has been to, we use it as a civil rights mechanism. John Constant used to always tell, he ended up enlisting me to write for the Black Coaches Association. And he said, Sam, him and Cheney, was my boys, they say, these white folk and our brothers and sisters academia always trying to downplay it. They had to fight academia to get money. We're leaving that back in those days. They want to minimize the effort put into sports. But John always said, it's a vehicle. It's not the only vehicle. But if it's a vehicle, then we're going to use it. We're going to make it work for us and hold them accountable. So that's what he did. So when he got to Georgetown and all that, he immediately was saying, he looked around, and there was no color in the athletic department. None. And he, whoa, wait a minute now. So and the trainers, the athletic department, as far as the support personnel, helping them with school, none of that.
That's true.
And so we got to change all this. No black referees, there was no assistant coaches, assistant athletic directors. So that's what they were fighting for. It wasn't just the basketball. They were fighting for inclusion throughout the whole process of college athletics, including referees and assistant coaches. And that's why, you know, he fought for it. And today, you know, unfortunately, they passed about 3 years ago, both of them. But, man, if they started changing now, they'd be pretty happy. Can I just say this real quick? It's funny because I have to mention John. They have fought. This was about 15, 20 years ago. They've been fighting NCAA. They're trying to at least get the kids. If you bring a kid up here, like Bubba Smith, Bubba used to always say, I come up here from Texas, and I can't get a ride home. They don't fly me home. I can't get home for a holiday. This is how these rules work by the NCAA. They wouldn't give the boys a penny. And it was just retarded. That's why they didn't want to do it. But once they fought, and they had a consensus. But the white colleges in the South, that South clip, that SEC clip, held it up every time. They could never get it through the NCAA to give the boys $1 to fly their parents to one game. That's all they were asking for. Fly them home for Christmas. If you don't fly, then we got to get somebody else to do it. You're going to put us on probation. We get mad at us.
Right.
Yeah.
I got stories on that.
It's impossible when you look at how America, for 7-8 decades, the guys' amateurism, they just ran roughshod over these poor kids. They kicked them out of school for a Happy Meal.
Yep.
The boys at Ohio State, they gave gold pants at the end of the year, some just a rag looking on pants. They sold them for $200, got tattoos, got suspended, kicked out of school a couple of them. I mean, it's kind of nonsense they was doing our brother.
Well, Leland, hold that story, hold that thought. We got more.
I'm sorry,
You good? We're gonna come back. We gotta take a quick break.
Good.
We're gonna come back to Leland Stein, Keith Bennett, Norman Clement. I'm your host, Darryl McGriffin, and stay tuned. We've got much more.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
My fear is not being myself and putting others in harm whenever I'm under the influence. Did you know drivers with a BSC of .08 are 4 times more likely to get in a crash than those with a 0?
There is a reason why the legal drinking age is 21. Underage drinking is ugly because teens who start to drink before the age of 15 are 12 times more likely to be unintentionally injured.
Over 300 fatal crashes and almost 4,000 injury crashes were alcohol related.
Death is ugly, especially since this avoidable accident. Yet on average, every 52 minutes, an alcohol-impaired driving fatality occurs.
Fees and fines are ugly and I want to get paid, not owing anybody money. If everyone obeyed new driving policies with a BAC of no more than .05, alcohol-impaired driving fatalities, injuries, and total costs could decrease by 71 through 77%.
Help us remind others to not be ugly with alcohol and keep alive with .05. This message was brought to you by the Center for Urban Youth and Family Development. For more information on how you can get involved, email admin@mycap.org.
Tune in to the I Love the Hustle show, Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m., followed by Mr. Smooth's Ballroom and Steppers Express Dance Show on WHPR 15.2 Detroit, Apple TV, Roku, and many streaming platforms. See you Saturday.
Right, you are looking at myself, Darryl McGriffin, Keith Bennett, and Norman Clement, and we also have on the phone, we are joined also by the incomparable Mr. Leland Stein. So, Leland, I know we were talking in the studio during when we were taking a break, and we were talking about in terms of say about continuing the conversations you're having, especially when you talk about a lot of the people that may have, not benefited from just giving them a few dollars. You know, we know about what happened back when with Jalen Rose and Chris Webber and all them were playing up there in Michigan, and you had Ed Martin and all of the issues that happened, with that, with allegedly monies that the boosters were giving to the ball players. What's your thoughts in terms of say about now with this, with the NIL and players are able to go and receive money, dollars, because they know that their brand is something that is very valued by so many people now. But what's your thoughts on that?
Did we lose?
Leland, can you hear us? Okay, well, when we bring Leland back, I'll ask you, Norman.
Yeah, I think what Leland was talking about back then, talking about Terrell Pryor with the gold pants situation at Ohio State. You actually a coach who's now the former coach, Jim Trussell was a coach. He had to lose his job over it. He's now the athletic director at Ohio State University. But at the end of the day, you know, he had to lose his job over it. Right now, with the NIL, I like it because it evens the playing field. Number one, the guy can go and earn some money, some income while I'm going to school. And a lot of those guys that play football may not go to the next level, who may be starting quarterback. But guess what? If I have a booster or a program or I use my likeness to do advertising and I graduate in 5 years with my my degree and also my master's degree, and I have $2 or $3 million in my pocket, that's a win.
Even if you leave there with a bank account, that's
the win. You leave with a bank account. There's money is going. People are getting. These guys are getting paid every week, and that every single seed during the season they're getting paid. And also it goes on to the all Title IX sports. They're getting stipends. And so that's why they have to cut the football down from 150 to 105 now. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that it spreads out money, it spreads out everywhere. And also, too, what it does is this. It makes kids choose the option. I want to play, I want to get my degree, and I want to go to a program where I'm valued. I don't want to go to all the Alabama and just sit there. I'm a 5-star sitting there waiting my turn. Be a practice player, wait my turn, get beat up, and then I may not play because you promised somebody else to come in and play. And so that's why you see a lot of those guys in the transfer portal transferring back to, hey, I'm going to Michigan, I'm going here, I'm going there, because guess what? They got openings there. I could play. My grades are good. I could transfer in. Yes, I still get money in my pocket. I'm close to home, and I get a great education. Now, the flip side, some of these guys are flipping it to the point where I play 3 years here, graduate early, go another 2 years for my master's program, and you know and I go away with a master's program, undergrad at one school, a master's degree at another school.
Hunter Dickinson did that.
Yes, sir. And then also, I'll walk away with $10 to $15 million. So guess what? The pressure for me to go to the NFL or go to the NBA is not that. I can actually go into the game. I can go into learn how to be an executive of a team, a manager of a team.
And the biggest draw for years, what they thought it would be the black athlete manipulating the system.
No.
But you use Hunter Dickinson. He's been played, 5 years now?
6.
6, yeah. He came from an elite family and school system. But it started long before that. Leland actually touched on it like in the 60s. Mm-hmm. That's what happened with Spencer Haywood. That's when hardship came in. Mm-hmm. You had these poor guys coming from rural areas or urban areas that couldn't feed, parents couldn't feed them. And then you want to manipulate them into college. They say, I'll go hardship. I'm going to go for the money. So that's how the hardship rule came into effect with people like Spencer Haywood, Ralph Simpson, and all of those guys.
Yeah, and also with that, what the NIL also did was this in the court cases. They saw the hypocrisy and manipulation of the system in the NCAA. It's not okay that the black sports, most of the black sports, basketball, football, track and field, soccer, can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Hockey and baseball, they could get paid through a farm system, and nobody says a word. That also looks at wait a minute. These guys could get paid, so they could go and play professional baseball on a farm team, get millions of dollars, come to school, play another sport. That's how Deion did it, and then still go play. Wait a minute, how the rules are changed only for football, basketball, track and field, and majority black sports, but when the pastime sports or majority white sports, hockey and baseball, they have all this leeway.
And then going back to a comment Leland made about the 60s, you have to remember, I'm going to show you how treacherous it used to be. when athletes like Bill Russell, Lou Alcindor, who's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came in, you couldn't dunk. They outlawed dunking. So they always put a cap on how much we could be creative and expand and market, and so those are things that over time you have to give it to the Jalen Rose and the Chris Rubbers, that they saw it and said, we're not going to keep allowing that cycle to continue.
And then the same thing, just like even with the shorts, them with the long shorts, that they brought into now, in the vogue now, that basketball players play, with the long shorts. But I just want to say, Leland, if you're still on the air with us, still call back in again, because we definitely want to make certain that you call back in, because we may have lost you earlier, but definitely to call back in, to the show. Because we definitely want to hear, more wisdom and knowledge that you've got to impart, back to us as well. So the thing that I just want to ask too is that when you look at a lot of the people that may have gone through, like you mentioned, Hunter Dickerson, now playing with, was it Kansas?
Yes.
And, and that's the thing, that here a lot of the black players may have been susceptible to some of the boosters that may have come and asked them to go and, cover like gas money, pizza money, something like that.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can, Leland.
So as Darwin, as a former recruiter, and I'm not going to sit here because a lot of the people that I work with are gone or, in their retirement, so I don't want to throw their names out. But it was...
Smokey, names for the people you work with, so I could just smile.
Well, when you mentioned John Thompson, I was friends with John Thompson I used to pick him up from the airport when he came here for UAD for coaching clinics. But Denny Crum, Rick Majerus.
When you was over there with Smokey?
Yeah, and even before, down in Illinois, I met Lute Olson, Bob Knight. I knew probably at one time Division I on a personal level. I knew at least 40 to 45, 50% of the top 25, 50 coaches. Everybody knew George Raveling. And so I've met John Wooden 2 or 3 times. Bobby Knight knew me when he saw me because he used to talk about my hair because I had a big fro back then. And so it was not too many coaches that did. I remember sitting in the stands, and I'll tell you how far I go back. I remember sitting next to Tom Izzo when we were both out there recruiting and scouting and having conversations. And so I was sharing when you were gone, Leland, was that we learned to open doors for people because doors were open for us. And so we were always, and so when I went to my first coaching job, I took a person down there to work on the staff who had no basketball background or whatever, just so he could get exposed to that. That was the package deal. If you want me, you got to bring my guy with me. And so that's how we had to do it. And I remember when they wouldn't allow. So I started coaching college basketball before I had a college degree, which was back then was like ridiculous. But we found out it wasn't too ridiculous because if you remember Danny Manning's son, his father was a truck driver. So for them to be able to recruit him at Kansas, they had to let his dad come on the staff. Now, his dad happened to be friends with the coach at that time. So there were always deals, but they worked deals for us to allow us into those tracks. Yeah.
And, it's so interesting because I know I talked to a variety of people, Leland, when you were on the show this last time, Gladys Bettis, Jerome Bettis' mother, she called in. And we were talking about all of the games that she and her husband, Johnny, and their family used to go to see Jerome play football at, when he was playing at Notre Dame. And now I know I'm going through the same thing now. A good friend of mine, Juwan Maxey, is playing ball at Youngstown State University. And his mother, Doretha Brown Maxey, is traveling all over, the Midwest area for the games that her son plays in. And I know she was just had to travel, I think over this past weekend, to Ohio to see him play in one of the games that he, was playing in. So it's really interesting, Keith, as you know, we were there with all the football moms, and they were talking about some of the things that they had to do when their sons, were playing football, and how they had to travel, pretty much like all over. And that's a lot of gas. That's a lot.
I remember the recruiting of Moses
Think
Malone.
about it, guys, how crazy it is. We holler capitalism, right? That's our rule I got. But only 2 sports in American history, college basketball and football, you can't make no money.
At the time, and that was
70, 80 years.
Right, and the reason why, because they
in all of America, there's nothing else like it.
Yep,
and they got away with this for so long.
And that's why
you talk about the NIL.
Yes, sir.
Earlier.
Yep, and NIL. That's why I struck it down, because how could basketball, football, also track? Got track field also did the same thing. Majority of black sports, they said they couldn't make any money, but the baseball and hockey, you could go pro at 14 or 12 years old at hockey. And then still get money and still pay for a college, a university. Right. Baseball, it was baseball during that time. Deion Sanders got a contract with the New York Yankees, played baseball, also played football, got paid from baseball. Then no one said a word. Chris Winkie, all these guys have done it. But now, with the NIL, people have problems because people go into the transfer portal. The coaches did that for years. And no one's better.
If you go to school, you can transfer.
Yeah.
I went to Michigan State. I don't like it. I can go somewhere. No, you don't get no trouble for that. If you in sports in college, if you left, you had to sit out a year. That's why they kept this stuff in place so long. Because you destroy a kid have to sit out a year when you only got 3 or 4 years to play.
Yep. And now
so it made it problematic to leave. So you was pretty much stuck when you made a decision to go to a university. No matter if the coach left.
Right.
He left for another $1 million. He sat in your living room, told your mama, I'm going to take care of your son, and then he goes.
Well, for the few people that don't know Leland, Keith, Norman, explain what the NIL, that transfer for, explain in terms, say, about the monies that, athletes, college athletes can make now without having to go pro.
So,
well, you got to remember, it ain't a lot for all of them. Okay, there's a few of them get a meal or two, but most of the 99% ain't get none of that at all. So that's what Derek Coleman had called me about this. He saw a story I wrote about the bye-bye amateurism. And he said, man, you ain't saying nothing about them daggone college. They still ain't paying. He's right. Because, see, we see all the big news about the kids, the big kids getting some money, but 90%, no. And so that's why you got people like Travis and them donated some of their money to his teammates because they couldn't get nothing.
But I always thought that would be a part of the NIL that I knew that would be an issue. If I'm a star quarterback and I'm making Shadur Sanders $2 million a year.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter making it. But if I'm an interior lineman and I got to do everything they do, I got to protect their butt. I got to help their image, and I'm not getting anything.
Right.
That's rubbing me kind of
wrong. So what happens is the quarterback, like for instance, those like big schools, like oil money schools, I call Texas A&M, Texas, their quarterbacks are getting a lot of, like Eli Manning, who's on the bench, get a lot of money. 9 times out of 10, those guys will take that money and give it to their interior lineman. 9 times out of 10, now there's a base stipend that they get paid, so they get like maybe $12,000 a month. Everybody gets a certain type of stipend a month for that time. There's something that they get, but it's better than nothing at all. Now, some of those guys, you're talking about Will Johnson and all of them, they get the whole big endorsements and all that. A lot of those guys kick that money back to them, or they get approached by so many offers that, hey, I'm not going to take it. Give it to my guys, other DB coach over here. And so a lot of the college kids are sharing the pot of wealth because they know, hey, if I'm happy and nobody else is happy, we ain't got no team. So let's spread the money out. Ain't my money. Shoot, I'm gonna spread it out, and because I know if I'm going pro, and Michigan got 3 players on the defense that are probably going to be in the first round anyway, I know that I got extra money coming. So here, I take care of myself. And so a lot of these guys also opt out of these bowl games. Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders didn't. But the price that the insurance costs and the bowl had to pay is astronomical now. And so nowadays, if you're not in that playoff or those big major bowls, your top tier players are not playing them. I mean, you saw 2 last night. I was surprised. The dart from Ole Miss, the quarterback, and the other defensive end play. That's the only 2 I saw. I was kind of surprised.
But you got to know they had a personal protection.
They got personal protection, but also the bowls pay them to play now. Bowls are like, hey, we want you to play. Here goes some extra money to play. And so just like anything else, if a kid was an academic scholar and a scientist and to get all this scholarship money from Lockheed Martin or anything like this, we'll be celebrating about that. We'll celebrate the kid who's doing all the work, straight A's. I'm so smart that I'm getting paid by MIT or a company's paying me to do an algorithm work and stuff like that. We celebrate that. But it's frowned upon. Well, I don't want to give the kids the money because we always go to the negative. They don't know what they're going to do with their money, and somebody will shice them and scam them. That may be a small amount of the cases, but most cases, it's been finding up and up. Now, you have to be honest with yourself, like the stuff that happened at the University of Florida and LSU, where teams promise you all that money and don't pay, or they don't do the research and say, hey, you don't have it, I'm not going there. And that's probably what happened where the young man from Belleville flipped to Michigan because they knew LSU never doesn't have the money.
So
yeah,
Darren, what you asked, NIL is name, image, and likeness.
Yep.
So for, as Leland said, for forever, universities. What was that?
What?
Leland, we still got you on the line?
Hey, still got your line here?
Yeah, I think. Am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still hear you.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead,
I guess they didn't like the conversation.
Yes, I know.
name, they didn't start censoring already before they bring this new administration in. Name, image, and likeness. For years, everybody knew, especially even in the white communities, knew that universities and the NCAA were making money off the images of players and their names and their likeness. And the players wasn't receiving anything other than maybe a scholarship. Maybe a scholarship. A lot of guys were in school on grant and aids too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they was able to get away with it so long, is because the fact of the matter is, being an educator, I could never minimize education. So when they say you get the scholarship, they could ride that because it's truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
You got black kids going to university they would have never went to, don't even want them.
Mm-hmm.
You have a hard time getting in, but you can go there. So it's hard to fight and argue with that. And so they use that for so long. It's just bad because they use one good part and they use it like a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, it's hard to fight it. We couldn't fight it because the biggest thing why the NCAA was able to propagate this thing for 8 decades is because these kids get out of there in 4 years. Like O'Bannon tried to sue them. It's been about 3 or 4 of them that did it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, once you get out, I ain't spending all my money trying to fight them fools. We can't beat them nowhere. You get tired.
They'll wear you out. They have more.
They'll wear you out.
They wear you out.
You can't do it. And so they knew they couldn't get beat that way. And then the white writers and the people, everybody saw this, but they didn't give 2 farts about them brothers not getting no money. Look how they beat up Chris and them, like y'all mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They just tried to destroy those boys' lives. And now when you look at it now, over some pity, Annie, so getting a car, you ought to be able to get in a car.
So
if I was at school and I want to give a student a car, I could do it. Nobody will say nothing.
Right.
As long as you don't play football, basketball.
Right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
You're right.
And so back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, mid 80s, a lot of those athletes were going to community college because they could bypass that.
Yeah.
Those rules didn't cover. You could get taken care of stuff. And that's how I started my career as a community college coach.
Right.
And so I knew that.
Right.
And I used to promise. I used to come back here and say, "Look, I'm gonna take care of you. you know, better than your mama was." You know.
But you know,
Come on, Doc.
Lily, you mentioned about with the coaches, and explain to somebody had asked me to ask you about the Rooney Rule. What is the Rooney Rule?
Well, it was good intentions. It's like everything. It was like affirmative action and DEI. They don't make you hire those blacks. It's crazy how they able to flip the discourse of white brothers and sisters and turn it into something that's never not, like they did with Kaepernick. But the fact of the matter, the Rooney Rule was put there to say, okay, if you have a head coach opening, interview at least one brother. Ain't saying you got to hire him. Just interview him. Give him a chance. Bring him to the table and look at the man. And that's what the Rooney Rule was, and that was the guys behind. But then it got all messed up too, because then they go, yeah, they just brought them in there, and they didn't have no intention to hire them, just to, to pacify the Rooney Rule. And so the rule and its intention was good. Because Mr. Rooney's always been as solid as they get.
And our Rooney, he was the owner of the
Pittsburgh
Steelers, correct?
Steelers,
Mhm.
yep.
So you've written about that, I'm sure, before then, Leland.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how do other prospective coaches, how do they feel about the Rooney Rule? I mean, do they feel like it's just kind of like a dog and pony show where they may just be ushered in and not thinking that they got a chance to get in the job, but they still just do a complimentary entry to the person just to satisfy
Well,
this
the
Rooney
early
Rule?
days, you're exactly right. That's exactly what a lot of fussing went on about that, because that's how they used it early on. But I saw somewhere they said 32 owners, 30 of them Republicans voted for Trump in the NFL. So that's just how it is. So you know what kind of people we're dealing with here.
Right.
And so as long as you know that, then you can understand. So yeah, most of them, it was like you said, it was a facade. But now, but a couple of guys have gotten hired because of it too now. So, you got to take the warts along with the good. There's some warts in it, but it's better than nothing.
So who do you?
Like affirmative action.
So who do you think then? Who do you think, Leland? Then, as you were saying, a couple of them have benefited from it. Who do you think, as a black coach, probably really benefited the most from the Rooney Rule?
Oh, let me think. Oh, God, it's been so many brothers. Combs is coming. Wow, I can't think offhand.
Because there's only 6 right now.
Right
out of
now.
32 teams.
But he said probably back, maybe a Tony Dungy, or maybe, but
No, there. Might have been Lovey. They brought him in because of that.
Lovey might have
Lovey
been.
Smith.
Yeah.
Lovey, Tony, but Tony and Lovey was on the street.
Because
Yeah.
Dennis Green was a
He got
head
interviewed.
coach. Dennis Green was a head coach long before the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, he
he
was.
was. That was before the Rooney Rule, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I'm not sure, Keith. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it was. And Shell was before the Rooney Rule.
Yeah,
too.
Arshell,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Al Davis was the Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
Right.
He was.
Yeah.
He pushed the NFL. The rest of those owners hated him
Yes.
because he was the first one to take all the brothers from the South, from HBCU, and he was lining his teams up in the NFL.
And that's why Mark Cuban wasn't like down in Dallas in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Well, I know we got a break that we're going to be taking shortly, but I just wanted to kind of touch upon a couple of things before we take this break. First, University of Michigan, all of those Wolverine fans. I'm sure they were probably really, really happy. I mean, Ann Arbor was probably busting wide at the seams when you look up and they beat a Alabama team in a bowl game. And, Michigan was not expected to really do much, in the off season, outside of, like you were saying earlier about the quarterback from Belleville High School that they're going to have, to come into University of Michigan. But what happened? What was the difference in the game that Michigan played in that bowl game against Alabama that they hadn't been doing or had been doing, but just not with that much success during the regular season?
Well, I got season pass. I cover Michigan. I've been covering it for 20-some years since I came back here. And I'll tell you something about this team. Woo! Sharon Moore, at first I was a little bit, that's your first black coach, so you got to get behind it, brother. Wish him the best. But for him to come in there and look at that situation, he got arrogant early on. It seems like he's changed. He's better. I'm really happy for him. And he looked at that and walked into this season and said, oh, he's so good. I can win with this guy. No, you got to do like, you got to look around. Oh, no. Okay, we got to get somebody. And he got to stand up for himself. He just rolled it right on out. Just rolled that guy out there like he can win with him? Come on, man. That was a big mistake on his part. Maybe he wasn't ready to ruffle feathers yet, and he just so happy to get the job. didn't. Maybe he thought his team was so good they could win with a subpar quarterback. But as he saw, it didn't happen that way. But I think what has happened toward the end of the year is that they have a good team, and they just got better. They just got better and better. Sharon got a little smarter with what he was doing, and it had a good ending to their season.
Let me ask you a question, Leland. Did he think that there was going to be a smooth handoff from Harbaugh to him and everybody that was on Harbaugh's wagon? Which nothing would change? Did he get fooled in that?
I think it's deeper than that,
maybe
y'all.
so. I mean, because look, you think these guys? Look what Saban did. Hurts was the man. Took him to the boat, and he threw his butt away. And he got to it. You know, he ain't playing around. He's trying to win. So, Sharon has to have that mentality, which he got at the end of the year when they went after Underwood. I think he had got enough mess from enough people. He opened his eyes up. He's like, we got to do something. I got to sit them. They got all these big, rich alumni. Send them after him. You ain't got to do nothing but just put the word out and say, go get him.
Well, Leland, hold that thought. Definitely, we don't want to lose you. We got another hour to go with Leland Stein, Keith Bennett, Norman Clement, and I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, on Truth to Power, and we're going to talk about the Lions in this next hour as well, too. So, Leland, don't go nowhere. We want to keep you online, so we're going to talk about them Lions. We got a big game coming up. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
All right. We are listening and we are looking at us live on Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. We're joined in the studio by Keith Bennett, Clement, and also on the phone with us is the incomparable Leland Stein. But we know we've got we're going to congratulate University of Michigan for having a great bowl game and ending their season with a win. We know that they're going to be excited about the upcoming football season with their new
They beat
quarterback.
Alabama twice.
Yeah.
You're right.
2024.
In 1 year.
1 year. Doing twice in 1 year.
But now, do you think that would have been the same if Nick Saban had still been coaching them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they beat them the first time with Nick Saban.
Yeah. And also, too, they're not as stacked as they used to be because of the NIL. That's why Saban is actively protesting, asking Congress to get involved with the NIL deal.
That's why he stepped down.
And so
No Congress.
we don't need Congress because you don't, because it'll work itself. It's working itself out now.
No, they're going to start to police those boys.
Yeah,
on their money.
And also the SEC could be in control, especially what happened last night. And see, the thing about this is that the SEC has a problem.
What happened last night?
Well, last night, the game with Notre Dame versus Georgia.
Okay.
All before the year, they thought that other teams, now some teams did not need to be in that playoff. But the thing was, well, Georgia needs to be in, Georgia's this powerful. There's a pride of the SEC. Remember, this year, Georgia should have lost 3 games. Right. They should have lost to Kentucky. They for sure should have lost to Georgia Tech. I watched that game. That game, the refs and the quarterback for Georgia Tech mishandled that game. That game was theirs. And another game, I felt they should have lost to Texas again. But Texas is part of the SEC. But Texas is like its own entity because the oil money and control that Texas has is Texas. So Texas is a part of the SEC, but really is not a part of the SEC. And so they don't have that much control over the SEC with Texas. Whereas Georgia is SEC bred brother through and through. And so when your staple gets beat like that, and I don't care what no one says, those refs tried to help Georgia out so many times last night.
Didn't they?
Man, the calls, well, here, that's not target. Wait a minute, we'll stop the play. I was like, God, I said, wait a minute, hold on, what type of refs are these? And so what happened last night, and Notre Dame is supposed to be a staple now, as establishment team. And so what Notre Dame did last night, with
no conference.
With no conference. Independent. And so now they went in and
Notre Dame got their own TV contract with NBC.
Yes, they
in college football.
Right. And so that's a pedigree. Money. So now you got these pedigree programs. You got the Notre Dame, you got the Penn State, you got Ohio State, and you got Texas. So the SEC has a problem. And if Ohio State beats Texas, which they could easily be, but if Texas ever switched their quarterback, I'm sorry. Eli Manning is a way better quarterback. Young man is way better quarterback than Ewers. Way better. If they switch their quarterback, that may be a game. But if he's in the game, I see Ohio. It'll be an old school back 60s, 70s football. Ohio State versus New England.
That tell you how much money that Manning is getting. That Manning is getting. That he's sitting behind somebody that he know he's better than. They tell you they making him come.
Am I here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you here?
Okay.
Yeah, you here?
I wasn't sure.
Go ahead.
No. No, I don't know.
You don't know?
I think.
I mean,
well, look, I'll tell you this. Look, I'm gonna get down how I feel. I'm so happy the SEC is losing because they the ones held up the brothers get NILs for 20 years because they wouldn't vote for it. They were like, we ain't paying no black boys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they stuck with it, and we just couldn't get enough votes to get by them, even though people was getting the consensus that something had to be done. But they were so hardcore that they weren't going to do it. And we still ain't doing it because we can't break that at the South Block. They ain't want to pay these guys. So NIL money ain't coming from the schools. Everybody got to recognize the schools still stealing all the money, and that's it. They ain't sharing nothing with them kids.
Well, so who do you think then is the best conference in football now?
Well, like y'all said earlier, I think like the NIL should even it out a little bit, better. And obviously the 10 got to be right there. We won the championship last year. You got 2 teams in the Final Four, and and had others that were just as good that could have snuck in there. If they didn't put Oregon and Ohio State up against each other, my God.
Yeah.
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 You might have had 3 of the teams
Yeah.
in there.
Right.
Because that was like the championship game.
Yeah.
Even though Oregon really got played.
Yeah.
But they better than they played the other day, okay? Because they kicked everybody but all year long. You know, so you got to give them credit now.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
So who do you think then, Leland, Norman, Keith? Who do you think's gonna win the whole thing?
I think it's going back to old school. We might see Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the Midwest final. That people are going. That first of all, before the game is played, the commentators from the organization gonna sit there. This is a travesty. They got it wrong.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna watch the
This
game.
is why we got to do something better.
than this.
It can't
we
be like
do this.
this.
We
Right.
only have 3 teams and stuff like this, and they're gonna protest. Now, only one SEC should be protesting. If I'm the chancellor of a school, I'll be suing them. Is Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the right to sue. Ole Miss has. I think Ole Miss should have got in over Alabama.
But they win in the SEC. They wasn't in the championship game. You can't get in if you in the championship game or was the leader before the championship game.
I understand what you're saying, but they played great ball. I think Georgia should have been in the championship game.
Well, they won the SEC.
I don't think they should have been in there. I think
But they
Ole Miss,
won.
they won the SEC. They won the SEC, but they got in by so many. They lost to Georgia. Lost to Ole Miss. They lost to Alabama.
Right.
And I think they had one other loss I got to think of, but
that was it, wasn't it?
That was 2 losses. So
yeah.
I just
how many losses Mississippi got?
It was 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3. Who did they lose to? Who's the third? Oh, they do got 3. Who did they lose to? Who's the third loss?
It don't matter. They got 3.
They got 3 losses.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. Let me throw a juggernaut into it. So, what do you think that Nick is going to say now that we got the old man in North Carolina?
Not a deep.
Belichick, the oldest college coach in the whole thing.
Yes.
I don't know. But see, maybe he could do it because he is Belichick. Just put the rings on your desk in your office. You got to do that. Because he's too old. He's going to be out there recruiting.
Well, I mean, you call him old, but he got a 25-year-old girlfriend. Come on, baby.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point there.
That Viagra helps there. That Viagra helps
that's
him go
science
out
right
on
there.
the plane, sitting in front of all these kids after kiss their butt. That's a whole nother ball game.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sitting there making promises to the mamas and daddies, you know?
No,
he's not gonna do that. I think what he's
Well, you got to do that as a college coach.
Well, he's bringing his son in with him, so Junior do the work.
Yeah, he's gonna turn it over to Junior.
Yeah, I think he's
But
gonna.
the head coach got to come in to close out the 5 stars and the others. So
Yeah,
he's
that's
gonna
true.
have to show up.
Yeah,
But it's easier now, Leland, when the money is there.
Also, yeah, and then
It's
also too
That's
with him, he is a defensive mastermind, and he's getting those guys. It's going to be something where North Carolina may not do nothing in the program. They may not win a championship, but the thing about it is that he could say is I get the players, I can develop them ready for the pros.
That's it.
That's what he's selling. I said, yeah,
Right,
you might
he
not
is
win no
selling that.
championship. Yeah, we
Exactly.
might not get all this stuff here, but
Good
on
point.
draft day, I guess when the combine, you'll be ready to go. You can stay in the. I could get you to the league. And I get you to stay in the league because I get you the fundamentals. That's what he's going to go into that program teaching. Hey, it's not about. I don't care about no championships here. We're gonna win some games here, but I'm teaching you guys how to play football at a pro level, so you get in and stay in. That's going to attract a lot of folks over there to this program. We'll see if it works or not, but it's going to be interesting. But
And when he do tryouts, all the other pro coaches going to come and watch his play.
right,
Well, we're gonna shift gears for a quick second. So let's look at, because we've got about 45 minutes left in the show. So we got an important football game coming up on Sunday. And, I think everybody understands in the studio and at home, they understand the magnitude of this game that's coming up. How important is this game? I'll go to you, Keith, and then I'll go to you, Norman, then I'll go to Leland. Keith, how important is this game to you and your perspective for the Alliance?
First of all, looking at the Ford franchise or the Ford people, it's everything to them. put all the chips in on Holmes and Campbell, and for them, it's a legacy changer. Even being mentioned in this type game and having this type game in Detroit, their investment has been returned, just even having the game.
Mm-hmm.
For the city, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, I can't think of any game that has ever happened. I'm talking about World Series. I'm talking about, we have to go back to the Bad Boys to even approach. This is a huge thing because so many people in this, I see people who have never cared about football in full Lion gear every weekend.
Yeah.
The bandwagon.
Yeah, every weekend. So this is our Super Bowl before we even experience a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And especially at home. So it's huge. And for those players, it's validating them because they've been laughing stock as soon as they got drafted, when they were losing a lot of games. And so for them, it's almost like they're in the national spotlight. Look at us now.
Also, I'm going to say this. Last week's game, I don't care what, that was a great win. Because the Lions got your first string offense going against your first string defense. They got their first string offense going against your fifth string or sixth string or last string defense. And to come away with that game with 2 interceptions, playing hard, your backups are playing, something McBride, your linebacker came back, and you pulled out a great game at San Francisco. It's always going to be a physical game. That spoke volumes.
Let me say this, Norman and Leland. And you may disagree with me, but I'm going to put it out there. Last week was the first game I ever saw Pennell get outplayed.
Yeah, he was going against Bosa.
Yeah.
And that's
and the linebacker too.
And the linebacker with Fred Warner.
Yeah, he got outplayed that game.
Yeah.
And we still won. See, that's what people don't understand. Everything that we've had almost been stripped away from us, and this team has found a way to run. Here's what I say, and I shut up and listen to Leland and Norman. In 16 games, there's only 30 points difference between Minnesota and Detroit's defense. Over 16 games, that's 2 points a game.
All right.
So, you're talking about Minnesota got this vaunted defense, this heralded defense, Flores is all that. It's only 30 points difference.
And he has the starters.
Yes.
And so that's what I won't tell in about, what I keep telling people all the time. Detroit, when I say Detroit is the only team that is 64 deep, it is 64 deep. Meaning I can get my 11 squad, practice squad players are going to be physical enough to get the job done. So let's understand to a certain extent. Now you go against certain quarterbacks, yes, but even then you're still going to be a chance to win the game.
Right. No,
you still just win the game. You're not going to get blown out. The Lions are so physical. Understand that everybody talking about they lost injuries. Understand we're still a physical team. They're not mentioning how Minnesota is not really that physical. Now, Flores does a lot of blitzing, elaborate blitzing. They come here. It looks physical, but really, you can run the ball on Minnesota. And the thing about what I liked is that they got Reynolds in the game. They got the other running backs in the game to carry that load, and they were hitting the ball 5 to 6 yards a pop. And so Fred Warner, Joey Bosa, they're all pros. They've been doing it for a long time. I expect that Sewell's going to have a rough game against them. But everybody else, only thing, maybe Chris Jones. Everybody else, we rocking and rolling.
But they attacked Sewell purposely.
Purposely to do that.
Their game plan was to attack him. But even then, the game plan is he's still 126 yards rushing. But what do you think going to be in his mind this Sunday? Oh, he coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That mindset's going to be there. So, like I said, this is going to be a good game. Detroit has played in big games.
You got to win by 1 point.
Yeah.
That's all it takes to get a win.
And I like Detroit because we had talked. The reality is this. Detroit is a hustler, a grind city. Yes. You work hard. The team has took an identity of the city. We're not flashy. We're not all this points. We're not all this stuff. No, we're gonna kick your butt. We're gonna go to work.
This is America's team now. Quietly,
It's blue blood. It's a black and blue division.
They won't say that
collar.
because
You
of
didn't run the hook and ladder.
Yeah.
Leland. They won't say this because of Jerry
Oh, my
Jones.
God.
They won't say this because of Jerry Jones. But this is America's team now.
It is.
It is. But they won't say that because of Dallas and Jerry Jones. That, NFL is slow to change. Slow to change.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, at least 4 of the Lions games this year were the top-rated games.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the whole.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. They up there right now. People like watching because I have people calling. I live in L.A. 25 years. My boys out there, they don't look nuts. I can't get past these dudes, man. I love those Lions. So yeah, the Lions have. Whoever said that, you're exactly right.
And when they were down in Houston, I got a lot of people down in Houston. They were calling me like, man, what? Who left in the city?
Man, I went to Houston that game.
Okay.
I went down to the shutdown. I went to the game because
My daughter went. My son-in-law.
Yeah, man, we went down to that game, and I went down there, man. I saw everybody from the east side down at Houston. And I had friends with college. I said, man, I don't know what y'all did. I said, everybody had to leave the truck. I said, hey, man, we down here supporting our team. And you go to that stadium, man, that thing was rocking, solid. And the Houston fans were talking junk at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the game started, so all of a sudden, everybody got quiet. And that guy missed that field goal. All of them started leaving because they already knew what was about to happen.
Well, that's what I say about this game. If Minnesota is up 7 or less and the Lions got the ball last, they in trouble.
Yeah.
They got to have the ball. They in trouble.
One thing about this game coming up Sunday, it's weird, man. You got 14. How many wins the Lions got?
14.
Yeah, they're
14
wins and 2 losses.
But they kind of need to win.
Yes.
This game, if you don't win, you drop down to 15.
But then you got to play Saturday.
14-2 record.
Yeah, you play Saturday.
You play Saturday if you lose.
You play who you play Saturday?
Tampa.
And the thing is that some of the 2 options. Now, I think Minnesota, whoever wins the league championship, I don't think Minnesota's going to win in that week 2 because they'll see Philly.
Don't go underestimate Minnesota.
I'm not buying Minnesota. I'm not buying.
I don't know.
Minnesota.
I don't know. But here's what the statistics.
14-2 by luck. It just don't happen.
But here's what the statistics say. The statistics say everybody that lose to the Lions lose the next week too.
Yeah.
Because again, Norman said they so physical.
They're physical. Like for instance, when Buffalo beat us, right? The next week they struggled. I mean, they struggled. Who they playing? They were down 14 points to the Jets.
Yes.
They struggled with the Jets. I said, "Oh yeah, the Lions effects."
Y'all know y'all stuff here.
I'm just saying. Like I watched the games.
Yeah.
I then played football. I played high school, college, and all that stuff. And then you see it, you watch it, you talk to guys, just looking like Lions are a physical team. I'm just telling you, they're a physical team.
See, Leland, you had to know this. You had to know that if we bring a veteran like you to be on the show, we can't bring rookies into the studio. We got to bring veterans like Keith and Norman to be here to be able to kind of have some conversation with you, so that it's not like it's just one-sided, just listening to you espouse about sports. Now here I got other veterans here in the studio that can do the same, and they can kind of equate that.
The thing that when I'm listening to the national guys talk and, hear them, most of them picking 99% Minnesota, I say, you don't understand this city.
No.
You don't understand the energy that's going to be in this city this weekend, especially all day Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand how that energy pumps these players up.
Nah,
these players going to be on, they going to be sky high.
And the difference between this team and any other teams in Detroit, they embrace the city.
Let me share this to you. This is a different shoot. And I used to complain about this for years about the Lions. I said Lions like to bring in quiet boys.
No.
We got some junkyard dogs now. That's the best way I can describe them.
Man, they all on the east side. Like Jameson Williams, like they will come to kid events on the east side by themselves.
Right.
Nobody will touch with it. Oh, you good. Yeah. You good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you come on through. Branch will come through, give them the program. They're not scared of the city. They're not scared of the people.
Branch has been working with the Sound Mind, Sound Body.
Yep.
Speakers, they're backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, Branch was part of our program. I'm a board member, but one of the founding members of Sound Mind, Sound Body. With Kurt Blackwell. Curtis Blackwell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me and Kurt went to King and Hampton together, Hampton University together under Joe Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we went to Hampton together, played football together. He went to Baylor. Did a little bit of stuff in the
Why
pros.
y'all get rid of my boy Purdy?
Who?
Purdy, who was just a football coach up until
This week?
No,
last year.
Yeah. He came from Alabama.
He came from Purdy. What happened with Purdy is that right now Hampton's under probation.
Okay.
Under what happened with Purdy.
Okay.
And so there's some stuff that went, that's alumni stuff.
He's my boy.
Your boy,
but
it wasn't. It actually wasn't his fault. It really was the administration.
Am I here?
Yeah, you here? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
Oh. No, I was just saying, my son went there. I just had to throw that in because I love it. They made me broke, but I love it. He ain't getting no scholarships like you did.
Oh yeah. I wasn't down there either.
See, I believe that, and I think. I know all of us probably sitting in this room, leading you do. To beat somebody like Minnesota, you got to cut the head of the snake off. So I think Aaron is going to challenge that quarterback, Sam, because he has not played in the game this big at all, whereas Goff has. Goff been to the Super Bowl.
All these games big.
Huh?
Come on, man. All these games big.
No, this is different.
You play a lot of big games.
This is different. This is different.
No, he played big games. Once you get to that level. But here, this is what I do. Here's some truth, reality now for a second. You can't replace all pros.
No,
you can't be the same team. We lost 4 all pros on defense.
Yep.
Aline, Hutch, Anzalone. He coming back, but he ain't in no shape.
No, he can't.
He can't just come back one game and just be a superstar. It ain't going to happen.
Right.
So, we got, and Colin Davis is the one that scared me the most. Because he was putting in work.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Ooh, Carl was having his best.
He saved they butt a lot of times.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
A couple games. I mean, he actually, did it himself. So the reality is, man, it scares me to no end. That defense looks like Swiss cheese against San Francisco.
Yeah, I think.
If we don't get them interceptions, we toast.
Yeah, but with San Francisco, go ahead.
I say that stuff, but it's just real. Man,
Yeah.
Injuries matter. And I have never seen a good team, this good in my lifetime, lose 4 pros on one side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
and you can't replace them. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, you can't
but
replace them.
They're not really trying to stop teams, Leland. They're trying to outscore teams.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're going to have to do. That's my point.
They have to do. And then also,
do.
But also, too.
Especially with Darnold, they don't have a big pass rush, and the linebackers are a little weak.
Yeah.
They would get beat by them back on the wheel route.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, the linebacking core, man,
But something, but something that I saw in this last game that they played, with San Francisco, it made me realize too, when Gibbs went down, and you saw him being tended to the sideline for, I guess it looked like he had a cheekbone injury or something, where it looked like they were kind of doing some kind of work on his cheekbone. I think he had a bandage on, for the last quarter of the game. But they were then able to go and start doing the passes to Jameson Williams. And you saw more of the wide receivers and the tight ends get more involved in the game when they lost Gibbs. And then I think they would sometimes even do those trick plays when they would have Jameson Williams, swing around, and they would hand the ball off to him and do right. And and that was the thing that I think that usually when the Lions have played in the past, if they lost like a Billy Sims or any of the other running backs, they tended not to have as good of an offensive game because of the wide receivers and the tight ends. But this time they are so multidimensional that if one goes down, like if Gibbs goes down, we know Montgomery is supposed to be back. I hear he's supposed to be back this game on Sunday.
I don't know. I don't think he's
he's not going to be
he's going to be back?
No.
Because I know they're talking about this.
I don't think he should come back at all this year, to be honest with you.
Real kid, man.
No, not with the MCL. I wouldn't. He has to rehab. I can see him coming back maybe for a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And sparingly at that time, but the other backs that they got back there actually did pretty good against San Fran.
They did.
And so
Jefferson,
right.
and then you have use those other Vidal, the other big back they had. They did pretty good. And last week, too, you went against a master play call like Shanahan.
Yes.
And you held your own.
Yeah.
And that's why I see Eric Glenn was on the
On
scene.
grass.
On grass. And so, like I said, there's going to be a lot of gambling going on.
And that's a good point, Norman, you said that, because that's the first thing that when you were talking that made me think. Campbell is a gambler.
Yeah.
And Campbell took some gambles on some of the play calling that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And it paid off in the end.
Right.
You know, and when there was a question about when the game that he played, when they didn't go for the field goal and went for, you know, on fourth down, they still tried to get that, and instead of going for the field goal. Campbell, that's the one thing I like about him. He gambles on fourth down.
Well, let me say that I agree with Leland 100%. At some point, those losses on the defensive end but it's been came back and bit us for the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
But my thing is this, and just what you just said, Darwin. The Lions have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I would not want to be facing Ben Johnson and Campbell.
Right.
And
they ain't got
Aaron
nothing to
Glenn
lose.
Like,
They ain't got nothing to lose.
Aaron Glenn. And it was Arnold as a DB. He's coming into his own. He got beat a couple of times. But a good DB going to get beat.
He's at least in the play now. He used to be 5 yards off.
He's in the play. I said, okay, he's getting better. So I got. And then also, too, everybody's injured at this time of year. Everybody hurt. Ain't nobody else.
Nobody ain't lost no 4 All-Pros.
Nobody lost 4 All-Pros. But I think physically, everybody's hurt.
And hold that thought. We got to take a quick break. So when we come back, you're on listening and watching Truth to Power with my special guest today, Mr. Leland Stein, Mr. Keith Bennett, Mr. Norman Clement, and we'll be right back.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wcccd.edu.
This is the Finance Doctor with the Phoenix Group. We specialize in furniture problems. If you are dealing with repossession, foreclosure, garnishment, or any furniture problem, give us a call at 1-877-446-1664. That number again is 1-877-446-1664 for the help you need. We specialize in furniture problems.
TV 33 is moving to WHPS TV channel 15.2. Make sure to rescan the channels on your TV. Then go to WHPS channel 15.2 to pick up TV 33 and all of your favorite shows. The move is on, and we want you to move with us to WHPS channel 15.2.
Claudine Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
And welcome back. You are watching Truth to Power with my special guest today, Keith Bennett, Norman Clement, Leland Stein. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we're going to close out this last half an hour to kind of I don't want to see the prognosticators and predictions, but I'm definitely going to ask this question since this is a new year. And so who do you think the Lions are going to face in the Super Bowl, gentlemen? I'll start with you, Norman.
It depends.
And you are sold that the Lions will be.
Yeah, the Lions will be in the Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Don't say it.
I've been saying. I said that they should have won last year.
One game at a time.
One game at a time. But if was the fifth. If was the fifth.
I'm about to ventilate over here, man.
Okay.
I've been to 30 Super Bowls, and the Lions haven't been to one. Last year in Las Vegas, all my friends was coming up to me, the reporters, and me, and say, man, damn, I thought y'all team was going to be in there. I had to listen to that whole week.
I know you did.
I thought y'all team, man, we root for you. They never been. So for me, I can't even let the word Super Bowl come out.
I understand.
I understand.
They ain't never been. And I have to sit there and watch every other city. And as a reporter, the worst thing in the world is the best thing in the world is if you're lucky enough to be writing for an environment where your team's winning. So it elevates you, it elevates the city, everybody. More in love with everything, right?
Right.
And so we ain't had that opportunity to ever. Well, in L.A., the Raiders went, but we ain't never. Detroit can't say Super Bowl. Please don't jinx them, y'all.
I'm not okay. We're not gonna do it.
Who they played?
Minnesota. We played Minnesota.
We played Minnesota.
That Super Bowl. It's so far to go. I mean,
yes, it is.
Well, so then, okay. Well, let me rephrase the question, Leland. I'm gonna rephrase the question to Norman first, and I'll say, so Norman, I'll just rephrase it. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? I'll just leave it like that.
Lions.
Lions. Okay. Keith.
So would be nice.
Lions.
Leland.
I'd be ready to go see the Maker if the Lions win the Super Bowl.
Lions win the Super Bowl. Like I said, the tape was shut down.
If they get there,
yes, it will.
To be honest with you, I don't even care if they win.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I just want them to get there.
Yes.
It would make me really happy.
Yeah,
I know. I think
that'd be awesome.
All these years of covering this stuff, man.
So let me ask this question now. So then, and I'm be the one to ask this question. So now here, the Lions won a physical game against San Francisco. We know Minnesota won a close game to Green Bay. Which do you think wants the game more? Because you saw in the locker room, you saw the team just embrace Sam Darnold and the whole. I mean, you would have thought he won the Super Bowl when you saw him in the locker room.
Yeah.
Which team do you think has the most energy, even though they're playing in Detroit? Which do you think has the most energy coming into this game on Sunday night?
I say Detroit.
I say Detroit. I say this. I saw that celebration in the locker room. That was too much celebration, and you still hadn't finished the job.
Where the Lions locker room was quiet, they ain't done yet. When a man is quiet, it's business.
And by it being a physical game, that's nothing new to Detroit. They if you went to their practices, then
they physical.
They physical.
What you think, Leland?
Well, I say Detroit. They're playing at home. But Minnesota, they're going to be ready.
Yeah.
So we're just going to play a really good, solid football game. Hopefully they can do it. That defense just scares the poop out of me. I'm sorry, guys. Buffalo and San Francisco, man, they're having a hard time. They just can't stop nobody. With that linebacking core, to me, missing pieces on that defensive line.
Yeah. But who did they lose to?
We had Hutch in them.
Who did they lose to? Who did they lose to with that defense?
Well, they ain't lost.
Second game of the season.
Yeah, and Buffalo.
Josh Allen destructed them by himself. Sam Darnold cannot destruct the Lions by himself.
Well, we'll see. I hope he can.
Well, see, I think the thing is that this was probably a good tune-up game that they played last week against San Francisco and against Green Bay. I think that was tune-up games for Minnesota and for the Lions they needed games like that to come into this last game. The one thing that I'm liking, and I've told so many people this since this last game against San Francisco, this game is the game that the Lions are controlling their own destiny. Whereas so many years in the past, we've always wanted another team to lose or another team to win. This is the Lions right now. This is them, and whatever their destiny is going to be in the playoffs, making it to the Super Bowl, their destiny is controlled in this one game. Because like you said, this could be the highest seeded, if I'm not mistaken, the highest seeded wild card team that will be playing, because they may have a team that could be 14-3 as a wild card.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, win or lose, depending on whatever happens with the Lions or with Minnesota. But
that's why you're right. The Lions really do need to win, because if they win, that give them a bye, give them a little more time to heal.
To heal some of the players, right.
And everything is at home.
Back. And maybe that might even be enough to have for Montgomery. We got to check that out.
I'm Darwin, you know this. I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe in energy, and I believe in this city. I believe all things point to the Lions coming out and putting on the show. Now that you still could do great and lose. I'm not either, but I don't think the team is going to let us down Sunday. Now they may lose, but I don't think they're going to embarrass themselves to let us down. It's just
so. Who do you think then, Keith, from that energy? Who do you think is going to have a stellar game Sunday?
I think Jameson Williams is going to light up the show.
I think so.
and that other boy they got from Denver, what's his name?
Patrick. Man, he's been the key.
He has been real.
Man,
he's been blocking. I mean, he's been just.
Man, I was
everything.
mad at the Lions because they dogged my boy Peoples out. Peoples Jones. Norman knows him.
Yeah.
But because he was a sound mind, somebody. But who was it?
Yeah, because a lot of those guys.
Somebody,
right. Some of you guys that played on the Lions and some of the guys that played with these teams during this came for the draft. We talked to, hey, coach, what's going on?
Even Robinson is no slouch.
Right.
Robinson is on the bench. He's no
slouch. So, but some of those guys play football through sound by sound by. You come in like that. I do remember you. Yeah, you took me to you drove us to the airport, man. You guys out. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Didn't know. Like you meet so many guys that came to the program through the summer camps and the after school programs. He's like, dang, he did play for us, or did some work for us. So that's the kudos that we do with the sports program with Sound Mind, Sound Body, and now we have a facility now that we're running programs through on the east side off of Meringue, and so the sports community complex out there on the east side. So it's one of the unique community centers that focuses on not just sports but education, ACT, SAT prep, but also your overall being a better person, a better human.
Yes, sir.
And so
you guys are amazing, man. What y'all done with that program. Y'all be commended.
Oh yeah, so just on the Lions, there's so many. Like I said, I believe in energy is something that no one could always tap in.
Right.
And sometimes on your last day, you don't got it, but people around you got that energy. It motivates you. It motivates you. In Detroit, I'm telling you, it's the
and it's something about natural energy. Dan Campbell is natural.
Yep.
So when he's standing there, I would love to be in his pregame conversation before they come out. I mean, woo! And with that crowd,
the crowd,
woo,
and he told, and then when we lost that game, we lost players. He came out and said, "Hey man, ain't nobody feeling sorry for us.
Right?
Get up, do the work. We'll win the game."
And he told him, he said, "If we win by 1 point the rest of this season, I'm good."
Just get a W, baby.
That's
Minnesota.
What did Al Davis used to say?
Just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
Just win. Well, that was a cool thing.
Well, you know, this has been such a phenomenal ride this season. I think this is probably, as Keith, I think you mentioned before, about like even better than with the Bad Boys, you know, and even with the Red Wings, the Tigers. I mean, you know, we hope that some of this energy is translating into the Pistons because, you know, as we talked about, Keith, you know, about how the Pistons are doing.
Yeah, we broke his fibula.
You know, under Bickerstaff, you know, they've won more games, and it's not even midway through the season yet, they won all last season.
And our guy said
we ain't gonna say his name,
okay,
but
I won't say his name.
But
I hope he's listening.
he called me a little while ago.
So with the Pistons, Bickerstaff, it seems like Bickerstaff, one, he wants to be here.
Yes.
Nonetheless, the fact you want to be here, you want to coach. You're coaching those kids.
Right.
Last guy to here, we overpaid for somebody that didn't want to be here.
You know, the one thing that I've
And
learned.
he showed it too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sure did,
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe he came in here and he didn't give two farts about
Just
nothing.
basically stuck his nose up at the whole town, really. But you know, the one thing about this city, and Leland, you know, when you're a coach in this city or athlete, especially on the pro level, and you can relate to this city, man, you can walk on water.
Well, you know, people got mad at Campbell because he let Hulk Hogan show up. But he was like, I didn't invite him. He just showed up.
Right.
but the fact of the matter is, he loved Hulk Hogan because he kind of got a persona like him.
Yeah.
He does. You know, all that. You know, he got that Hulk Hogan kind of persona.
Yes.
And he acts like he, and he kind of admired Hulk Hogan. So I let him get a pass on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Leland, if I see him, if they win the Super Bowl and you see Campbell come out there with his Lions jersey and shirt on and he rips it apart and start showing them biceps and
Let
stuff.
me tell you
know.
something, what, Darwin? You're going to start seeing people with those shirts on.
With them shirts off.
Hey, look, if he went, I said, y'all almost tricked me into saying it.
Right.
Super Bowl.
You know you want to say it. You know you want to say it. Leland. You know you want to say it.
Let me just say this, and I'm
Nobody
sure each of us know a person like this. Each of us know it. All this year I've sat and thought about the people that love the Lions and never got to see that Super Bowl, including my mom, including my aunt. I mean, this season was like, it just touched me in ways because we haven't seen it. We haven't gotten a taste of it in this town. And so many people left here just wanting to see that. And when I watch Bart on ESPN, and he talks about his dad here, you can picture people who've been sitting here for 70, 80, 90 years, just wait.
I'm thinking about my friend Timon that used to do the party, the Detroit takeovers, before he passed away this year. A young guy around my age, 47 years old, avid. Lions was 0-19. Timon was there. Timon loved the Lions. He was also a board member of Sound Mind, Sound Body. But Timon loved the Lions. I'm thinking about him when they're winning like this. He's like, man, Timon will be up here like, you know, getting the parties ready to go. He'll have a party ready to go into New Orleans already scheduled, ready to go. So, you know, just thinking about those guys who didn't see it. I'm also thinking about the guys who passed away, who saw it, the first one, and then they passed away, they see it again. Okay. So, you know, that energy is there, man. The energy is here.
Well, you know,
my dad took me to my first Lions game in 1964. And he's like, boy, that's the same year you signed me up for the West Side Cubs. And I've been, you know, we got to know Lim and all them guys from that era. You know, so they were cool people. They lived in the city back in those days. But hey, man, that's 1964 to now.
Yep. I saw my first football game in '63. It was St. Ambrose versus Denby at Tiger State, I believe it was. And then I saw my first football game in '65 at Tiger State. And you're right. We got to know all those guys basically.
Yeah, they were.
They was like, you know, that's and I share that with young people, that it used to then be this division in the city between anything really. You know.
Well, you know, it's been so many years that, you know, we've always had people that ridicule sports teams, you know, and here in Detroit, you know, the Lions were the one team that hadn't won anything. You know, the Tigers had won World Series. The Pistons have won, you know, the Bad Boys, the championship, and the Red Wings.
And the Shock, even when the Shock was here.
Even the Shock, right, you know. And
don't forget that.
Yep.
And that's something. Has anybody? Let me ask you all. Has anybody heard any more conversation? And we talked about this, Leland, the last time you were on the show with us, about possibly resurrecting the WNBA. You know, a WNBA team here in Detroit again.
The only thing I heard was Detroit was not on their radar when they expand.
Okay.
This next.
Well, I wonder because who got the other?
It would have to be Gore.
Because I think Golden State got a
Golden
team
State
now.
and-
Golden State got
yeah,
a team.
yeah.
But it had to be Gores to initiate the program
Yeah.
as the owner, and he should because the WNBA games
Well,
have
well,
been.
think about it. Are you going to give another person another franchise who hasn't proved that they can move the needle on the current franchise?
That's a great question. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's a great
right.
answer.
Gore, the one thing I like about Gore, no matter what, is that he moved the team back home.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that
And
was.
it ain't his arena.
No.
But he bought out the league. I don't care. We come back to Detroit.
Yeah,
We got to play in the city.
and that was an
He
interesting.
owned everything out there. That was a big deal. The
Mhm.
college was owned by the people.
Yes.
The
Parking,
everything.
everything.
They was-
Yeah.
He threw it all away.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Wait a minute. It was a trick to that. So when the owner died, she sold the rights to the stadium and the parking to Oakland County, to L. Brooks,
His widow.
his widow. And so remember, Illich wanted to buy the team, and he didn't want to buy it, and they wouldn't let Illich get the team.
Mm-hmm.
So they sold it to Gores. Gores is also in entertainment. And so the facility was owned, the parking was owned by Oakland County. He just bought the team. And so when it was time to resell, he wanted to buy the facility. They gave him a crazy price of $600 million, and he took his walking paper and said, "Oh, wait a minute, I got a spot downtown. I'm gone." So in a sense, Oakland County killed themselves. Forced my hand. The forced hand, or you forced my hand. What I wanted to do because I didn't want to stay out here in Oakland County anyway with Auburn Hills because it's hard to get to. It's hard to lead the Pistons games.
Especially when that snow and ice hit.
Yeah. It's
Willie Green's cousin, sister got killed driving up to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got a few minutes left before we have to end this, but Keith, go ahead.
I want you to comment, Leland, on our friend that you lost, a dear friend of yours, Cass Tech alumnus, University of Michigan. Go ahead and share your thoughts around Tom Seaborn.
Tom Seaborn started from my best friends ever. And a lot of people can say that, but me and Tom go back, we were 10. You know, the Detroit Striders track, and then hanging around St. Cecilia. And I was 2 years older than Tom, so he looked at me like a big brother. And then when he went to Michigan, because I was at the state, but when I went out to L.A., he went and played for the 49ers. And the first phone call, I got, man, you got to get up here. We go up to, we flying back and forth up to San Francisco, hanging out. Him and his family come down, visit us in L.A. Then we got hooked up and started going to Super Bowls together 30 years ago. Now, this is the part I'm going to tell you, Tom outdrew me with the Super Bowl. Because I used to get I get a room for photographer myself. And then I gave Tom my photo room always. And then the photographer stayed together, you know, in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, he got hooked up with all these rich brothers all over the country, man. Steve Ewing is one of my dear friends, too. He's out of Atlanta. He owned the dealership. And the biggest dealership, he was the male part of the South. And they started renting Airbnb, you know, just homes, big homes, him and a couple of them guys. I'll just stay in the hotel. If Buster comes that way, take me where I got to go. Y'all live it up. So about 8 years ago, he started doing that with those. But we always still connected, though, like the game. But Tom was the kind of guy that connected people. And one thing about he had character.
Mm-hmm.
They had all these great athletes, Bettis, just on and on. Barry, Kelso, just keep going. And he was their financial manager. And not one person could say he cheated them or try to outdo them or did anything not in their best interest. And when you find a guy dealing with that much money and dealing with all these people not once getting out of pocket, it talks to his character and the spiritual anointing that young man had. And he was always connecting people. I mean, when I saw Barry down there at the Michigan State played somebody, because his son plays for the Spartans at Little Caesar Arena, because they come out and get. I had to go down to the locker room there, and here's Barry out there with all his boys, because the one boy, Nick, was on the team. The way he introduced me to him, he said, "Y'all, this thing is that. He said, well, that's Tom Searod's guy. That's how much respect and care he had for them that he had to attach Tom's name to get them to say, all right, y'all gonna speak to this guy. And I've seen them around since then. They still like, oh, hey, the boys. But yeah, Tom, whew, he was something else. He's a solid human being. He's a good family man. I got so many pictures in my phone of him, sending me all these pictures of him and his kids. He started having grandkids. He had 3 of them. That was like his proudest moment with his grandkids. And he was enjoying that. We was talking about the season he's in, and that season was moving towards retirement and the new souls that's being brought into his life called grandkids. And yeah, that's one thing he's really, really excited and happy about. But wow, there's a lot of people. And what we're gonna do, the funeral will be, I think, at 11. And
Say it again.
Organizing
When is it gonna be again?
Article. Let's see, I have to pull it up. I think it's gonna be at Hartford because the church that all them go down on Warren, they didn't think it was big enough.
Because they were members of Hood's church, weren't they?
Yeah, Hood.
Plymouth. Okay.
Plymouth. Yeah.
So this is going to be at Hartford Memorial up on Service Drive, John C. Lodge Service Drive.
Somebody sent it to me early this
So Phil Hubbard, there was all in town already. Everybody that come in. I mean, the brother was loved.
Yes, he was.
And Tom wasn't very boisterous about the stuff he was doing and all that, And he didn't have no giant ego either. Because he sure could have had one, but he wasn't that guy. He was a blessed human. And
yeah, the visitation is on the 10th from 4 to 8. Plymouth United Church of Christ. Yeah.
But that's what the funeral?
No, the funeral is at Hartford.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
On the 11th, right. And the visitation
they
is
sent
on.
it to me.
Right. Yeah, I got it.
Now, you guys be on the lookout in the next week or so. I've been working with Scott Talley to do this story on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to let Scott do it because Scott hooked me up, shit. and plus he's young. It's his time.
Okay.
I'm 79.
Okay.
Well, only
So y'all
thing
keep your eye
that
out.
I can say, we will, but, our prayers, condolences go out to his family, and we got to wrap up. Leland Stein.
Thanks for letting me say that about Tom.
Yeah, only thing we got to be careful of is sometimes with the language sometimes, but we can probably
I cursed?
delete
Did I
that
mess
part.
up?
Don't worry about it, but we can kind of see by editing that one little part. But
okay.
The thing is just that we have really had a pleasure having you on the show with us today.
Thank you.
You always bring it, and we definitely have an open invitation for you to come back. Keith Bennett, as always, appreciate you. Appreciate all of your wisdom and insight. Norman Clement.
Thank you.
As I said again, Norman, you make this show what this show is.
Norman!
Yes.
And we
Yes, sir.
definitely
Sound
want to
bite.
make certain that everybody has a great, great new year. I know that Tim is saying it's about time for us to wrap up. But again, we hope that these Lions will bring a win to the city of Detroit this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Leland, we are going to be up here saying it's the Lions in the Super Bowl. and we're hoping that everybody stays healthy. We hope that people will come back and be able to play in the Super Bowl because we know how important it is.
Yes, sir.
To a lot of players. And we hope that, as Keith was saying, some of these players don't come back too soon, but we hope that they get a chance to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, everybody have a very, very wonderful, blessed, and productive 2025. And regardless of who is in that White House, we're going to still remember whose we are.
Yeah.
And it's going to be important. As Keith always mentions about this spiritual warfare that we're going through right now, we got to make certain that we keep it in every person within the sound of my voice, within our viewing audience, lifted up in prayer.
Yes.
So again, On behalf of all of the members here at WGPR, WHPR, and we thank Tim Smith for all of the work that he's done as our super engineer, Henry Tyler, Maxine Willis, R.J. Watkins. We, on behalf of Watkins Broadcasting, we hope and we pray and we wish everyone a very, very happy New Year.